We all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right.
Want me to call the roll?
Please call the roll.
Nikki Bender?
Here.
Kathy Altensee?
Here.
Joy Sellers?
Here.
Nikki Martin?
Here.
Pat Sellers?
Here.
Okay.
All right, we're all here.
Oh, here, present and accounted for.
Okay. We are here today to have open discussion about our budget and the revisions and amendments. Okay, so I'm going to allow everyone to speak openly and freely.
Oops.
So the floor is now open.
Any recommendations or suggestions on your part of what we need to be doing?
Far as
As far as taking care of, obviously, we're overspent in some categories.
yes, we are overspent in some
So
categories.
what are the recommendations? I was reading the laws and duties,
Mhm.
and we do line item transfers when we're over, but only at a 10%.
Mhm.
And I noticed that some of these are more than that.
Yes. Well, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up because now we'll get to what we're going to do. But let's get to how we got to this point. That's first and foremost. How we get to being over budget in these line items. This overall budget was created and approved in order to antagonize and to sabotage this new board and new administration.
I object to that comment.
I have the floor.
It's on the board.
I have the floor.
Okay.
This was an attempt to mislead taxpayers into thinking that the new board and administration is fiscally irresponsible with taxpayers' dollars. This budget was not created and approved to help people that we serve or to help this organization move forward. It was created in a moral vacuum, void of any responsibility to the voters and taxpayers of the city of Freeport. This despicable budget was created out of spite, out of anger, and out of malcontent, and out of total disrespect for this new administration. By individuals who were disgruntled, vindictive, and who took the voters' election margin so personally that they were willing to sabotage this entire organization through their actions. Trustee Martin, you, along with Trustee Bender, you sat on the previous board.
Yes, I have.
But unlike Trustee Bender, you voted yes to this
Yes, I
budget. Yes,
Because it compared to the-
excuse me. And you defended the passing of this budget so feverishly, so passionately that you turned a deaf ear and a blind eye to my pleas. You did.
Let me know when I have.
As well as a blind eye to your fiduciary responsibilities. Now tonight you will have the audacity to scrutinize and criticize the shortcomings of a budget that you approved. This budget was designed to cripple this organization financially. And you did approve it. You had every opportunity to vote no the way Trustee Bender did. But you chose to be a part of the problem. You've attempted to saddle the voters and this board. And that's appalling. And tonight you want to question why? Maybe you should have been questioning why on April 1st. Or maybe on April 15th. Or April 22nd, when I stood before you and the previous administration on all three of those dates mentioned, and I begged and pleaded that you not pass this budget. I did. I asked you to rather allow this new administration to create our own budget, but you said no. I've gone back as far as 2004. Township has never passed a budget prior to May 1st, which is the beginning of our fiscal year, is May 1st, okay? Prior to passing the passing of this budget, this current budget of April 22nd, the earliest Township had passed the budget was May 5th, 2004, with the latest being June 18th, 2007. So what made the passing of your budget on April 22nd such a pressing issue? Why was it so important to pass this budget so early? These questions are rhetorical because we all know the answer. It's because the old administration lost and the new administration won. And now you come forward carrying a badge of resistance or a badge of revenge against the voters of Freeport and this new board and administration. During my pleas, I even pointed out discrepancies in this budget. And I clearly stated where our danger points would be. One danger point is our consulting line, which budget was approved for $12,000. It was. But $11,984.25 was spent out of this budget line before he took office. Left me with a budget of $15.75 for the entire year. That's appalling. That's preposterous, it's a sham, and it was an attempt to make this organization fail. And you approved it. Not to mention that we paid one consultant, Decision Systems, over $77,000 between the year of 2005 and 2013. That's an average of $8,572 per year, with no contract and no formal agreement. And again, you approved it. You did. I think the Township of Freeport has had enough of advancing payments to people. We should have learned our lesson about advancing payments when that Senate bill was passed. But we didn't. We did it anyway. But we did it with a vendor. It wasn't right. Since my first day as supervisor of Township, my staff and I have been cleaning up the mess that you and the old administration left behind for us. Mess that we're still finding, mess that we're still cleaning. Mess that you had a hand in creating. If you had a question the previous administration, the way you're questioning me in this administration, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in right now. We'd be further along. But yet we are wasting time cleaning as opposed to moving forward. But it's something that we have to do. We were put in this position to clean this mess up, and that's what we're doing. You chose to vote yes for this budget. You did. A budget that was created, like I said, to dismantle this organization, and you did it, and you neglected your fiduciary responsibilities. This budget that you voted for is a complete moral and ethical failure. It is. Now, trustees, Bender, Altency, Sellers, I'm not done. We are now at the proverbial fork in the road, with one road leading to failure, other road leading to success. I can let you guys know right now that failure is not an option for this organization. I will get to you in a second. Just lower your hand, please. It's not an option. We cannot fail. We will not fail. We were not put in this position to fail, regardless of how we were left. We were left in a mess. A big mess. But with that being said, Trustee Martin, you are a part of this board. You are. That happened in the past. This is now. And I will be looking for you, for your guidance in guiding this organization. You as well, Trustee Bender, Trustee Aldency, Trustee Sellers. We are Freeport Township. And if Freeport Township fails, we all fail together. Everybody clear on that?
Yes, that's right.
We have no other direction to go. We can't. The people are looking to us for leadership. Each and every one of us. Each person here brings something specific to this organization and to this table. I do not have all the answers, trustees. I will look to each one of you for guidance because I need your guidance. I do. But I will not sit still for any sabotage, any backbiting, any of that nonsense. Is not happening. We move as an organization in one direction together. With that being said, the floor is open. Drop my book.
Thank you. Your personal attack, Mr. Sellers, is very scathing and unsubstantiated. The budget that was passed by this board in May is no different than budgets that have been passed in the past. It is not a budget meant to sabotage. That was not my intention when it was happening. It was a budget to put together to give guidance. Now, you obviously read this differently, and the scathing attack you have just done for me, and now you want my cooperation after that kind of scathing attack on me personally? That was very scathing attack. You had no reason to attack me in that way. You never asked me about how I viewed that budget. You made all these assumptions. You've never talked to me until you made this little speech. Now, if that was so important to you to attack me at this meeting, why didn't you call me into your office and we could have gone over this? But no, you chose to do it in a public arena in front of whoever you chose to be here. And I resent it because it was not my intention when we passed that budget in May that we passed a budget any different than we had passed a budget in the previous years that I have been on this town board.
Okay, but Trustee Martin, when I stood before you 3 different times, wouldn't that raise a red flag? Couldn't you have came to me and said, why are you so passionate about us not passing this budget? Then I could have explained to you then.
We had one meeting.
No,
No,
it was more than one. I
it's
do know
in,
that.
it's in the minutes.
But I guess my question is, if all the other budgets were passed, you know, like later, like in May, and then one was in June, why was this one so special? I mean, he did ask that, I do know that, and I guess my other question is, I mean, I know you feel like that, but the five meetings that I did come to when I was running, and then when I got elected, I feel that you attacked Cindy the same exact way. You never asked any questions about any of the budgets. You never. But so I know you feel like that now, but I know that coming to those, that's why one meeting I just got up and left, because you did attack her constantly at all those meetings. But this isn't about attacks or whatever. This is about why did we pass a budget that we have no money to work with. We're in the red. So that's why I guess my question is, did you guys, I mean, the board sit and ask any questions on the numbers or even the accounting numbers, saying that they were gonna be left with what'd you say, $15? And yeah, I'm saying, was any of those questions ever came up at any of the meetings? I don't know, I didn't make it to every meeting, but did any of the, you know, looking at the numbers like we look at the numbers now, did any of those questions ever come out in looking at the numbers on how, even Nikki, I know you voted no, but I'm just saying, what was your reasoning for saying no to some of the budget?
Well, it didn't take a rocket scientist to know that you don't make a budget for the next person coming in line. He knew what he wanted to do. He was changing things, and I specifically asked at several meetings, let's wait, and it was, no, we're just gonna go gung-ho. And were there questions asked? Very few questions were ever asked of the budget. The budget was presented, everybody sat there and looked, and it was a yes board. I'm sorry to say it was a yes board. And Mickey, I'm sure that you can concur with that if we look back at the minutes. I recall you in the last 2 years voting once no, and that would have been on the last raise for the people. The only time I ever recall you voting no on anything that came before the board. And I was chastised all the time because I asked questions And because I couldn't get an answer unless I did a FOIA for it, I voted no. It was very sad. It was a very sad situation the last couple of years. And I'm sure you know that yourself.
Questions were asked. Budgets were compared. And I have no compunction that we did anything wrong in passing a budget that was similar to budgets that have been passed in the past.
When someone has been elected to a new position and specifically came to our board and said, could I please do my own budget? And you all turned your heads and said, no, we'll do the budget. Not right. It was not right.
And there's not even money in the budget to pay us as trustees.
As trustees,
There's not
there's
money in the
no.
budget to pay.
I believe
different
I
things.
read that $70,000 was saved since you came in.
But that wasn't because of y'all, that was because of, he did cuts. It
Well-
wasn't because of what y'all put in the budget.
Thank heavens he did that. May I speak,
Yes.
Supervisor Sellers? If you were to look back, and Mickey, this is in point to you, budgets, when they are set, and the years and the dates that transpired when they were approved, Patrick's right. 2004, and that's as far back as probably he can find minutes, and I could even find anything. April 22nd of 2013 was the first in 9 years it was passed before May 1. If you were to go back, you'd even find that for the salaries. The salaries take me to another place, because the year you voted against that salary increase was the same year my staff was put in a position because supervisor previous decided to change the hours for her people from a 37.5-hour work week to a 40-hour work week, which Supervisor Sellers has proven was not needed by even one person less in this office. But why was it done? To give them a raise. That was offensive, that was directed, that was intentional. Some of the words he's chosen, they were intentional. You did do this. When you would sit at a meeting and you would come at me, asking me for the last 4 or 6 years of information on my programmer, and I find out that the programmer for this office never, ever had a contract. Hello? Is that how we do business? Without contracts? We wouldn't think about it. All I keep saying is thank you for making me dot my I's and cross my T's, because there isn't anything that's been done in my office that anybody, you all can know it. But when you come to this and you start to see where the money has been spent,
Just foolishly.
and where we are financially now, nobody knows the books. Patrick has someone as staff that has so much knowledge, and we're very fortunate we have her, because we can kind of put the brakes on. Patrick saved $70,000, and then the rest of us, we had what I had for part-time, I'm not gonna spend. He's not gonna spend his part-time. Because we really don't know where we're gonna end this year. And the numbers aren't pretty. Because when you start to see how much we have to adjust this year's budget,
It's crazy.
the 70,000 is probably not gonna touch what we need.
Cindy, may I speak?
Yes.
Yes.
If I recall, we did made a salary, and we went back and made the adjustments so that you could pay her the way that you wanted to pay her.
Not the way we wanted, the way the ordinance was
Right.
directed.
Yeah.
That was found by an accident. The previous, again, fiscal officer didn't catch it.
But it was taken care of.
Again, should have been.
Right.
That was by ordinance, her salary was
Was
in
it
place.
taken care of?
This got nothing to do with this.
Well, and what is all this conversation about? Why don't we be positive about what we have to do and do it. Why are
I
we
agree.
hashing
That's what we've
and
tried.
I agree.
blaming
Tried.
and name calling and all of this other stuff? If we've got a job to do, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I feel I have been character assassinated at this meeting tonight. And I intend to get a copy of that video. And I intend to write about what I've been called at this meeting tonight. Because I am here as a member of the board, trying to see what we can do to help Patrick make this budget. And I don't know how you thought you were gonna enlist my help when you made 20 points about my character and what I did.
I'm not trying to elicit your help.
Oh, now you don't want my
The
help.
voters voted you in to do a job.
That's right,
Right.
absolutely.
And I hope
And
that
I
you do it.
hope that this
And I hope that you
gets
do
out
it.
to the public,
Right.
what you've just done to me. Now, I am willing to help, but I
Thank you.
don't think I have to sit here and have my character assassinated by
You're-
anybody in this room.
But you know, I do think that we needed to have this meeting because a lot of things have, I mean, even with some of the other things that we've been dealing with in this organization or committee or whatever, or board, that you know, people have been, feelings have been hurt, not just yours, just tonight. I mean, I know that, you know, like I said, the other meetings that I came to, I know Cindy's meetings was hurt in the previous board, you know, but she didn't go, and I mean, it wasn't recorded, but she didn't go and write something to the newspaper and say whatever. Her feelings was hurt too, you know. But what I'm saying is also, there are things that we think as a board, that when we have our closed sessions and we talk about things and we say that we're gonna keep those in there, that's what we have to do. We can't go outside and talk to other people about, and that's where I think people's feelings are hurt too, because we have somebody that's going out doing that. And it's you.
It's not me.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not
The
me.
the only reason why I'm
I
saying.
have
Let
not-
let me finish.
Talk
Let
about
me
any
finish,
executive
let me
committee meeting.
finish. You have, okay. And the reason why we're saying we need to get this out, we need to talk about this, if we are going to be a board that is going to be efficient and do what we were elected to do, we have to be honest with each other. We have to be, we can't be backbiting and all this stuff. And you have done that, and that's what hurt, well, it hurt me as a board member, coming on to the board, and we go into closed sessions, and we go into confidentiality, excuse me, and things are still done outside. I'm thinking, well, why? That's why my question was always, why are we having these things when people can go out and talk and do whatever? And you have done it, and that hurt me as a board member. And I don't think that, just like you saying you're hurt, I was hurt. But you know, and I think that's what we need to have
I
this.
think you're gonna have to tell me where
We
this
need-
all came from, because I have
We've got
honored
proof.
executive
No, you haven't.
committee
No,
sessions.
you haven't. No, you
Yes, I
haven't.
have.
No, you
And
haven't.
you're gonna have to show me
Okay,
where I
I can
didn't.
show you, I'll show you. And it was the day right after we had an executive session and confidentiality, and you were at, what's the coffee shop, with the person talking about what we had just did in confidentiality and
I
closed
don't
session.
go to coffee shops.
You went to this one.
Then you're gonna have to tell
Okay,
me
I can
when
show
and
you.
where,
Oh, I can
because
show you, I will.
yeah.
We will do that, but we need to be honest.
I need
We-
to
but
know,
we
you need to be honest with
Oh,
me,
I am.
because I have
Okay.
not been to a
Okay.
Higher
coffee
ground,
shop.
but we will, this is what we're, higher ground, but this is what, we need to have this.
I
to
was
be
at
open.
higher ground on a
Wait.
city manager, or on a
Just,
a
okay.
building issue, not,
we-
not anything else.
It was
Yeah.
a building, this one.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
let's
no,
move-
it was
But
City
this is
Hall.
what-
Let's
It
move
was
forward.
City Hall.
But this
okay.
is what we're doing.
move
We
forward.
need to be honest with each
One
other.
second.
Yes, we do.
I have a question, and maybe you can answer this, Mickey, I don't know. Can you tell me why, when he asked 3 times that you not pass the budget, why you all felt as though it was important to pass it at that time and not let it go to the next? Maybe there's a valid reason, I'd like to hear that.
The reason I personally
Yeah.
passed the budget.
Well, you're the only one that can give me an answer, nobody else
The
is
reason
here.
that I personally passed the budget and agreed to pass the budget is because it was a budget similar to the previous years that we have passed budgets. It was nothing any different than what we had ever done before. It wasn't, in my mind, it was not to sabotage the new administration. It was not to do anything but pass similar budgets that we passed in the past. We had grants that had to go out because there were issues with state funds being held up, with federal funds being held up, and we had grants that we wanted to get out. The one that I was most concerned about was the one to the Community Health Center.
Were those grants due in prior years when the budget wasn't passed until after May or June? Were those grants an issue at those years, do you know?
They were not as much of an issue as they were this year due to the funds being delayed by the state and federal government. So there were issues in my mind that said, we have an opportunity to not be one of the ones that are gonna be late.
So would
with
it
the
have
budget.
hurt to have let the budget go until the next administration?
I thought we were done with this conversation.
I just want
telling
clarity,
you-
that's all.
I'm telling you that I personally, me personally, looked at that budget as compared to budgets that we passed in the past.
Okay.
And as far as I was concerned, the major emphasis was on the clients that we serve.
Okay, but
That was my rationale.
didn't we budget over 210,000 more than we had
Pardon me?
in revenues coming in? Didn't we budget over $210,000 more than we had revenues coming in?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
budget was way over.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You mean this new budget you're talking about, the 2013-14 is, the revenue is budgeted $240,000?
Can you show me where that is, because
Yeah,
it
right
doesn't
here.
show on my copy.
Please, right here.
Okay, this is, yeah, okay.
Oh, she's
Okay.
right here.
One here. Need one more here.
Okay,
You got
you
one.
got one?
You got one.
Give me that right there. Now, didn't we, now this is based off of the, audit report.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's based off the audit report.
You're telling me that we have a balance of $676,000. What?
Yeah.
Well, the fund balance we had before,
Projected balance.
and when we did this budget was only 747,000, so that's not much less.
Can you speak up, Kathy? It's hard to hear you.
I said, I'll remember that next
time
I get paid.
Give me some clarification on this right
Sure.
here. Revenues based on expenditures and appropriation. Didn't we budget 200-something thousand more than we had revenues coming in?
Right here.
Yeah, your projection.
202, I'm
Your
sorry.
expenses
Yeah, that's what I thought.
were over
Yeah. So right here is
revenues.
202, I'm sorry, it was 202,000
$2,000.
Just
over.
right here, it's
Yeah,
202.
202 over
Okay.
what we had as far as revenues coming in.
But you
Check
also
that
have
much
a
over.
fund balance.
A fund balance where?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
A projected balance.
Projected.
Projected
That was
balance, okay.
carryover from
That was a
April
carryover.
30th. That's the projected balance as of April 30th, 2014 is the last column. That's projected as of April 30th, 2015. Assuming you get all the revenues, you spend all the monies.
And before we can amend
There was certainly
anything,
money
we're
in
gonna
the
have
fund
to,
balance to make up the difference. At least that was my recollection when we passed this budget,
Okay,
which is not unusual.
okay. Any more discussion?
I would just hope that this board will work with you, Patrick, to get things back online again. I'm sorry that you had to come into this mess as a new supervisor and not having had any experience in this, I'm sure it's really a learning curve for you. So I hope we can all work together and get this mess straightened out.
I certainly hope so. Yes, ma'am.
It's so refreshing to have a positive attitude versus having, I don't know if you could call it denial or a negative attitude, because we're here to help these people. We're not, and now I see, I'm on the other side of the window. And so I know firsthand that you can't, you have to do a good job. You have to work hard together. You can't go back and say, well, guess what she said, or guess what he said, and then just to get a reaction or to get the rumor ball rolling. We don't need that. We're not in high school.
I agree.
I just want to thank you for being that kind of person. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, we need to talk about an appropriation ordinance before we can amend it.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to draft an amended appropriation ones, but one of the key questions is, we have a $202,000 deficit this year.
Yes.
And we think we're gonna have about a 676 carryover, which is about 202,000. Keep on doing that, you're not gonna have any carryover in 3 years. So the big question the board's gonna have to decide is, where we're gonna go from here, as to, we can't keep on spending $200,000 more than revenues coming in. So that doesn't have to be made tonight. But that was one of the questions that Patrick and I talked about, as what do we do in the future? I mean, what are we gonna, what, if any changes, if any, are you gonna make, so that when we're here in 3 years, we have $60,000 carryover and we need 202,000 to fund the programs at the same level. I mean, that's why, even if you have carryover, that's good, but you gotta remember, if it keeps on going down, you're not gonna have any, and you're gonna have to, if you're running a business, no financial business would run this way. They would have to make some changes so they would continue to exist. And a lot of times, we don't have control of how much money we spend. When the state says you have to spend it, they're eligible and you have to spend it. I mean, so you don't wanna take a massive hit. I know it's one of the reasons we have catastrophic insurance, but that's just the point I was trying to make is, you need to look at it as a board and decide, what are we gonna do in the future? Are we gonna continue to deficit spend? And
I
if
think
not,
Cindy-
what changes are you gonna make? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
And I think Cindy has said we'll probably get how much less this year from real estate taxes?
Probably another 30-some thousand dollars less.
And then we've got this building, that the taxes and the overpayment that we made for this building, that even hit us, so.
Well, and from my budget is fairly small, but again, and Patrick and I have talked about it, when this building was purchased, there was no insight, no forward thinking of ever including my office in this building, which is truly, truly a shame. I spend over $10,000 a year on rent.
Yes.
That $10,000 a year I could have used for a part-timer to do field work, which has been put on hold now for year 4, other than doing the maintenance that we can do. We can't get further ahead. Lack of photos again, lack of finding things that need to be taken care of, but you can't do it with the staff that we have. We take care of what we have to, but to get ahead again would be to hire. Well, Patrick and I got to look at these numbers and I'm going, I can't in good conscience spend the $5,000, and thank you one more time, and I will bring this up, for cutting that in half, because I had asked for $10,000 at that budget. And at that meeting, it was going to be zeroed out, but you gave me 5 back. There is no intent for me to spend that money. I again, can't do it in good conscience. These numbers are horrendous. And what would be very telling is this, have we been doing the negative year after year after year? And did we think about any of that when we budgeted $1,715,000 back in 2012, the year we bought this building, which is roughly $500,000 over the previous year? We've put in about approximately $255,000 in this
Oh,
building,
my goodness.
and it doesn't even house my division. This
Why not?
building should have been big enough to house all
Why
of
not?
us.
Why not? Why not? I guess.
It just, I mean, this is just foolish spending. It wasn't even an option to put us in here.
That was not my recollection. When this building was bought with the understanding that you would be part of this.
Where? When
This is-
when the division line is created and that portion is all the half for the VAC and that portion is for the supervisor, where, other than the previous administration, opened 2 doors, 2 doors, offices the size of my office now, and said, oh, this would be good for you and your staff. And oh, by the way, here's the other room for you and your staff. Really? That's what kind of accommodations we were going to get here? That makes no sense. Again, going back to, why was this budget passed in advance? Why was this building never considered to be, quote, the township building? And again, moving forward and paying $188,000 each. And when we add up all the additional stuff, we're in the range of $255,000, and I'm still paying rent.
Yeah.
This is
Your
not right.
contract,
This
as I understand it, Cynthia, is not up until November.
My contract is been up. I mean, it'll be up in November. But what, you're gonna move me now?
I would
Where?
hope so.
Where?
Where?
We
I
don't own
think
this building.
This part of the building that we are in, there's an office down there. You have a secretary, as I understand, and we have a secretary.
No,
When
no,
you
no, no,
move into
that-
this building, are we gonna have dual secretaries?
That's not a secretary. You don't understand what my staff does.
Yeah, I know.
That staff person
She answers the
the
phone.
phone. That staff person does the sales data. That staff person does the maps. That staff person assists out in the field. That staff person, and I can continue on if you'd like, there is no correlation. She is not a secretary.
Right.
She is above and beyond. She is a certified CIAO, just like the rest of us in that office. She doesn't just, hello. If that's the case, we all are secretaries. up
That
there,
you
'cause we all
can
answer
use
phone.
the existing receptionist we have here
For,
for answering your phones?
She can't
again,
answer questions.
she
Right.
can't answer the question. She can't do the maps. She can't do the
It's
sales.
okay. You just if she answers the phone, it gets referred to the person that can answer the question. That's what the receptionist here does.
No, you're not understanding. Her jobs, what she does, do not entail just answering the phone and directing to somebody.
She's a certified
That's
person.
fine,
So
Cynthia.
she's,
That's
so
fine.
regardless
So
who
You
answers the
can
phone.
take part of the burden off of her by having somebody that
Answering the
answers the phone for the township,
But where
whether
would
it's
they
the
be?
assessor or supervisor.
Where will the assessor's office be housed?
This is a
Back here?
modular designed building. And I've looked at the reception area up here, where we have one person answering the phone, has space in there that's probably 4 times the space you'd need for somebody answering the
Oh my
phone.
God.
Okay, but now we
Well,
have,
why
no,
didn't
no,
you decide
we have
that
one
way?
problem though. We have one problem.
Who was doing that?
Confidentiality.
Yeah, exactly.
We have clients coming in here. We can't have people from the assessor's office.
This is
Yeah.
a modular building that could be adjusted to take care of that.
But
These
why
are
didn't-
all mobile, and that was the purpose of
But why
setting it
didn't
up
y'all
this
do it?
way.
But why didn't you do it? I'm saying, why when?
Because Cynthia's contract wasn't up till November.
But you still could have had her ready for when
Planned ahead.
November came in.
I can remember when
Okay.
cubicles were as
Right.
big as these 3 tables
That's
put
right.
together. And
That's right.
you could turn around and open your file drawer and pull a file out and turn around and be right back at your desk. They weren't these huge cubicles, these grand cubicles with all this new furniture.
Well, then they could be modified, I would think.
Plus, late.
Plus the
It's
floor
not
plan.
too late. A modified,
What are you gonna do with all this new furniture? I can't believe it. All those tables back there. Chairs. We used to have chairs. I had to put something under my chair just to sit on it at my desk.
well,
But I'm
that's
still-
an
I'm still-
administrative
right.
decision,
Yeah,
and
but
I
I'm-
think it can
yeah,
be
but-
done.
But I'm still lost, because if that was the decision and that was the intent, was to move Cynthia's department down here, why wasn't it set up so that when her contract was done in November, that was gonna take place? Why now it's up to you to do it when, but you guys got to buy the building and make all the decisions, but now you gotta switch and change? I don't understand that.
To me,
Which
that's an
it's-
administrative decision, it was not a board
That was the
decision.
previous administration division, and.
That was, it's setting this up so that it worked. To
But it's-
me, it was not my job as a trustee.
Right.
We saw the space, we measured the space, we knew what space we'd had before, we knew we had more here. So I felt the administration could deal with that. I didn't think that was a board
So was
issue.
Cynthia and her organization ever told
I-
that you guys are coming down here?
One more
Were they?
point.
Oh, okay.
No, she wasn't
Okay,
allowed to look at the
If that's
building.
truly the case, if you truly believe that at one point that this, my office would be in this building, you, as the trustee of the previous administration, would never have approved the addendum that Patrick was straddled with the new floor layout that clearly said, that is her space and this is his space.
Right.
Would never, ever have happened if you at any point in time believed my office was gonna be in this building. You cannot say anything to me that would make me think you ever intended to bring me down here.
Absolutely, Cindy, it was.
Well, then you need to take a look, excuse me for getting a little loud, a little bit at a point, sometime in your free time. Go back and look at the addendum floor plans. And it's very clear what's his territory and what's the VAC's territory.
Well,
There-
isn't that what you do with the building? Don't you divide the building according to how you had a partnership agreement for?
Again, you can't tell me, knowing the space that they've been given, and what space, now, the half of the purchase made was that half of this building, there was ever an intent to put my office in this building, ever.
Wouldn't have been on an
Yeah,
agenda.
there was.
But why?
That's why the modular walls are here.
This is open space, this is shared.
If
This
you
is part of
look
the
at some of the
shared
offices
space.
over there, those modular spaces could be modified
But
to make room.
confidentiality, they cannot hear what.
You
Okay.
can't have us in
Okay.
here.
Okay.
No, that's, no, no.
Any more discussion on the budget?
Okay, well,
No?
we need to do whatever.
I
Okay,
think
we
we have a
have-
lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
I think we have a lot of work to do. A
Yes,
lot
we
of
do.
Well, if
discussions,
everybody's
A
done,
lot of
We have to
decisions to make.
haggling what went on before, and is willing to step up to the plate and do what we have to do, I am willing to do that.
I've been doing that.
Yeah, right, everybody's been doing it.
Well,
doing
it
it.
sounded to me
Right.
like, that was not
Really?
how you proposed it to me.
Really?
Yeah, your personal attack, to me,
Personal.
had nothing to do with sitting here and trying to make this thing work.
My words were addressed to you and to the previous board. Since they're not here, maybe, and you were here, I
Thank you very
addressed you.
much.
So if you want to tell them about it, you most certainly can.
They knew what they were doing.
Okay.
I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
I don't
Exactly.
have any need to take your personal attack and lay it on them.
Okay,
They
are
don't
we?
deserve it any more than I did.
Okay, are we done here on the budget?
Yeah, I think-
Okay. I guess it's time for public comment. Any public comment? No?
I asked the question, I'm not public, but Liz, your fiscal officer is
yes.
here. I just have a request, and I had wanted to find this out when we found that we were in the red for these kinds of dollars. Is it possible that we could go back maybe at least 4 years and see the revenues versus the expenses? Were we always projecting those kinds of losses?
I'd have to go back, I mean, I can dig and pull the records.
Okay.
And compare from year to year.
I think it'd be kind of a good idea. One, it might give us, I don't know, Mike's numbers really make me not happy. And as he said, if we keep having to balance, if we keep having to dip into the reserves. My question back when Patrick took office is, how many times have we dipped into the reserves and how bad is it? Well, then Mike stepped up to the plate, to share us the sad news. And, yeah, thank heavens, Patrick, that you have reduced the clients'
Hours and time.
Their
grant.
Their
You
grant,
need this?
because,
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it may not sound like a lot,
You
but
can
it
have
all
that one. I
may
got an
add
extra
up. Thank heavens, Patrick, you reduced the hours of your staff, and they're working a 37.5-hour week. That saved us the $70,000. There are areas that clearly you're going to go over, but they're needed. And again, you wouldn't have found out that you only had $15 left in your $12,000 budget line had you not had people like your fiscal officer Liz and Jean Wall. And hopefully those days are done, because I believe you're gonna work on a clean, clear, transparent slate, which is what you ran on.
Absolutely.
And then we'll try to get our hands around the rest of it. So.
We will.
Appreciate what you're doing, so you're right, it's time to get the pencils and sharpen them up.
All right. Since there are no public comments, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bender, second by Seller. There's a voice vote, right?
I have one more comment. When are we gonna start working on this, or are you gonna present something to us?
We're gonna get the appropriation, amendment appropriation ordinance done, and that can we get that, no.
You probably can't get it till the middle of November, because, I mean, I can add it to this agenda, it's not set in stone. I can amend the agenda and send it out to everybody if you wanna add it. Is there gonna be time to do that? Do you know what line items you're changing?
Yes, we got the line items that we're changing.
Okay,
So,
so it sounds like what he's gonna do is present the ordinance, appropriation ordinance with those line
With
item
those line
changes.
with those line item
That
changes.
way, and then you guys can look at it and review it.
Thank
and
you.
it's-
That's what I wanted to know, because
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to do
Mhm.
in order to
Yeah.
get us off the dime.
And
That's right.
if you know what you're gonna do, I can add that to the agenda
Okay.
and send out the amended agenda to
Okay.
people, because it's not really official until Thursday.
okay. Well, we'll get that taken care of.
And I'll just do that, and you'll all get it in an email, and Nikki, I'll just take
Yeah, I'll
yours.
send it down too. Okay,
Okay, so I guess now we have a motion to adjourn, we need a voice vote.
okay. All in favor for adjournment?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Meeting is adjourned.
Let's go do it.